Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unstoppable REI. And I'm here today with my new friend, Doug McCarthy. I should have asked you if I pronounced your name correctly. Is that correct? McCarthy?
It's McCarty, TY.
McCarthy. I'm sorry. Well, there we
That's
go. I'm going to
that's
have
all right.
heads will roll on my team. I will. McCarty. All right. We'll get that straightened out. So let's just get started right away, man. Just tell me your. I remember the last time we were together. I came in late to the party, missed the whole story. So tell me your story, your 30-second elevator pitch.
Well, my name is Doug McCarty. I've been in the real estate investing game since 1989. Bought my first property when I was 19,
Wow. Okay.
and bought that on a land contract. Basically, the owner carried back the note, and I borrowed a bunch of money from some friends
Okay.
and bought my first property, and then I was off to the races.
I like it. So, did I hear you correctly that you started in 1989?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so I started in 1990, and I'm usually the oldest person here saying that, so it makes me feel good that got somebody a little bit older here. So,
Right.
so what would you say is like the one thing that you wish you would have known when you started your career?
Um, I wish I would have known that property was easier or easily available at that day and age, because in the 80s we all know that the interest rates were high
Yeah,
and the mortgages were super assumable at
right,
that time, and I
right.
didn't know all of that.
Okay, so you're saying that
uh,
you wish you would have known that it was maybe easier to get properties than you thought it was?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, okay.
uh,
Whatever happened to all this? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off. What were we gonna say?
the trial and errors, we just learn as we go. So it took me
Yeah,
about 9 or 10 years before I learned that how easy properties were assumable,
yeah.
and you didn't have to do anything. You could just basically sign a note and you own the property.
And that's crazy. Whatever happened to the consumable stuff? Are they still some out there? Do you think?
There's a few. They're few and far between.
Okay,
They're a little bit harder. I mean, you can assign notes now, but the assumable notes are very few. I mean, most of those were from the early 80s and late 70s, and
yeah,
most of those are probably already paid off or refinanced or sold.
sure. Actually, now that you mention it, my first house was an FHA assumable. I mean, they just sign up and pay the difference, and
Yeah.
take over the payments. It was great. But so let me ask you this: what would you say is your biggest? So you've been in real estate since '89. So is that 30 years?
Yeah, 32
Okay.
years.
So what would you say is your biggest failure? And I know people, people have differences in opinion about the word failure. You know, you don't fail, you learn, whatever. But what do you think is your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that?
Oh, the biggest failure was trusting somebody that I brought in that I thought was a great friend and a great business partner at the time, and not doing my due diligence for
Hmm.
behind the scenes and what he actually does to do and accomplish his goals along with mine.
Okay.
So we did a deal together, opposite sides of the country. I was in
Okay.
Nebraska, he was in Seattle, and he came up with a property that we were going to buy and turn into a long-term rental.
Okay.
And yeah, he bought, supposedly he was taking pictures of the neighbor's property and all this other stuff, and bought this land next to it that was going to be the property that he was going to build behind the scenes, and then we were going to be partners in it. And it ended up costing me probably about 150, 200 grand before I flew out and saw what was going on.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you solve the problem? I mean, did you get it?
Yeah, I ended up having to take him to court,
Wow.
and
Okay.
I just took over. I just took over the land property,
Okay. Okay.
because
So
he was doing the effort and I was doing the finance,
I
and that,
see.
that was our partnership. And then basically the partnership failed from there. But all in all, it probably cost me about 250,000 more than it should have.
Okay, that's quite a bit. So the moral of the story is what? Don't
Do your homework.
okay,
It,
inspect what you
it,
expect kind of a thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's a piece of property that you're inspecting or another human being that you're inspecting. It doesn't matter. Just do your due diligence. Ask the questions, ask the hard questions.
Okay.
There is no bad questioning when it comes to a partnership, because if you don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't understand.
Okay. Gotcha. And what advice would you give to someone that that's getting started in the game? I mean, what's the advice that you would tell them?
I think the best thing is to make sure you understand your abilities.
Okay.
If you don't know what you're doing, partner yourself with people that do know what they're doing,
Okay.
or get yourself a mentor to learn simple processes and simple steps that will save you time, money, and energy later.
Okay.
That's the biggest advice I think I can give somebody.
That makes total sense. And speaking of mentors, this actually leads to the next question here. What have been your best resources? I mean, do you have a coach now, or have you had a coach?
I do. I still have a mentor
Okay.
that was I landed him back in 1995.
Okay.
Um, he owns a commercial brokerage company,
All right.
and I just started picking his brain and started using him for all the kind of details.
Sure.
I also have a not a coach, but a sponsor, um, and then I also have a therapist that I see once a week to keep myself in check.
That sounds good. So you say so the best resources you would say, so your coach. What are some other things you recommend? So you said coach, you got a therapist.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's all about you. I mean, you all have to remember that everything that you do is a reflection of your business, and if
okay.
you're not doing your self due diligence, your business isn't going to do its self due diligence, because how you run your business is how you run yourself.
Okay.
And if you can keep yourself in check, and you can keep yourself free and clear of distractions, um, honesty is always the best policy, whether it hurts or not.
Okay.
Because the best thing about the truth is you never have to remember what you say.
I've never heard it put that way, but that's very true. That's very true.
So if you're always having to remember your lies, then you've got issues.
Yeah, that's gonna catch up to you eventually.
Yeah.
So are you a big reader, man? Are you
Not a huge reader.
okay?
I'm a big vlogger, or I listen to a lot of audio books.
Okay.
More.
Audiobooks. So you an Audible?
Yeah, I'm on Audible and Spotify.
Okay. So what have you been listening to recently that inspired you?
I just went back and re-listened to Bigger Pockets again.
Oh,
Just
okay.
I listened to, I read about half of it 10 years ago,
Okay.
and I just wanted to go back and refresh and just to update my brain system on how I work and how I function, because I function as a team aspect.
Okay.
No company of mine is mine. My
Okay.
my employees own 25% of everything that I own.
Oh, really? Nice. Okay.
So I am a huge team effort. There's no decision made by me. It's made by the entire company and by the entire team. And it's
Okay.
also ran by my sponsor. It's also ran by my therapist, to make sure that I'm making a great decision for the process that I want to go through.
Okay.
Because other eyes and other brains are a lot smarter than just mine.
Right. Smart to keep yourself surrounded by smart people. What is that
Yeah.
saying? You don't want to be the smartest guy in the room, right?
I always walk in a room like I'm the dumbest guy.
Okay. And did you mostly do residential stuff or commercial combination? Kind of what's your setup?
When I started, I was just into residential. I bought that first property in Arizona when I was going to college,
Okay.
and then I bought my second property at Pebble Beach as another rental, and then I bought another one in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, as a ski rental.
Okay.
And then I got the opportunity to go into a little bit of commercial aspect, as in campus housing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So then I started basically building my team for campus housing, and I finally figured out that 5 beds in a room are a lot more lucrative than 1 bed.
That makes sense. That makes
And
sense.
I built up a little over 1,200 beds, and I was in the process of building out another 400 beds on a campus, and that was right around 2014. And then somebody came in and gave us the "we don't want to sell it" offer, and we sold it.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's cool.
So Yeah.
So that's nice. So are you semi-retired now? You still
No, we're
investing?
still in it. I'm big in the STR field.
Okay.
We do a lot of short-term rentals. I've got right at the moment we've got 32 left. We just sold off 33,
Okay.
and we manage another 84. And we've basically built this basically clubhouse or country club model
Okay.
where people can they pay us an annual fee and they can stay at any of our units, and we sell the experience. Our rents are only about 46% of our income.
Okay.
The experiences are the remaining. So we make more off our experiences than we do our rents.
Nice. So that's interesting. So you're involved in a lot of different stuff. I mean, so it's not even the traditional stuff. I mean, that's a little bit non-traditional. You kind of have your own couple different niches that you're working there.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been in the STR business or Airbnb business since basically 1989. That's the reason why I bought my
Wow.
first property, because I
Okay.
bought it. I bought it on a college campus. Rented it out to my pledge brothers, and then I bought Pebble Beach because I played golf and I knew a bunch of people that liked to go to Pebble Beach and play golf, and they
Okay.
wanted a weekend place to stay.
Yeah.
Well, I've been kind of doing the Airbnb thing since 1990,
Before it was even
and
popular,
before
really.
it was even popular.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into it. And then I started renting these other places and other places, and we just built themes around them.
Okay.
Basically, you could go to Jackson Hole and do skiing or river rafting. Same thing in Big Sky, Wyoming. That's a big travel destination for RVers or ATVers or river rafting.
Yeah.
Just all kinds of stuff. Chicago's our we call it our sports complex.
Okay.
We've got tickets to all the pro sports that people
Nice.
can buy from us if they rent our unit.
Okay.
We've got we share a yacht right on Lake Michigan that people can rent from us.
Okay.
Just anything that you want as a guest, we offer it to you, no
And
matter
that's
what you want. I mean,
sure.
as long as it's legal, we're gonna get
Right.
it for you.
And that's what you're saying when you said only 46% of what your revenues are rents. The other is the experience. That's
Correct.
okay.
Yep.
Got it. So you
Yep.
sound. I mean, that's kind of like a Disney mentality.
Yeah, it's like a live fantasy island.
Oh, I haven't heard that. I remember that. So I immediately think of tattoo.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that's cool. And what I love about what you're saying is that's totally unexpected. I wasn't expecting you to talk about. Um, I mean, this is not the normal conversation I'm having with real estate investors about selling the experience and about, um, I mean, you've been involved a long time, and it's just a lot of stuff that you're talking about that's completely different. So I can tell right now that if you're open to it, I love this. May be a part 2 and part 3, just because it's just completely
Yeah.
different. Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
I'd love to go into depth into it. I mean, there's
I
even
would
more.
love
There's
to.
even more behind the experiences. I mean, we've turned every unit into a retail space also, so you
That's
can buy
crazy.
everything within the building.
Okay, so where did you learn all of this? I mean, who are, if you had to name, just say 3 people that were the most influential. I mean, who's you know?
My father was probably my most influential person. Just we're farm kids. We were always taught to just never give up, just keep doing,
Okay,
keep going at it, no
okay,
matter your situation.
yeah,
If there's an issue that you can't figure out, make sure you just ask somebody that possibly knows what's going on.
okay,
And there's no shame in not knowing.
yeah,
There's only shame in failure.
okay, got it.
That's where shame comes from. Is we don't like to, we all like to post our Facebook lifestyle.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Posting all the good stuff, not
yeah,
the.
it's just one of those things. It's just do your due diligence and ask questions, and never be ashamed of not knowing an answer,
Okay,
because your best friend is going to be somebody that knows the answer to what you're struggling with.
sure, sure. Was your father in real estate? Well, I guess you said he owned a farm.
He was, yeah, we were on the farm for I mean, he owned the farm for quite a while, and then he
Okay,
figured out that us kids didn't really want to do the farm, and farming during the 80s was kind of rough.
okay,
So he went to work for the city of Omaha, and he became the city planner for them.
okay.
And then when we moved to Omaha, basically that's how I lived our life. And I just saw him get up every day, and when he'd come home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'd have our chores to do around the house, and if we weren't doing chores, we were helping somebody else out in the neighborhood that needed help with something.
Okay. Okay. Who else taught you this stuff? Who else did you learn this stuff from? I mean, this is not the typical path.
I got sober in 1995.
Okay.
So I went through a lot of struggles, got 6 DUIs before I was
Wow. Okay.
25.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Had a big issue with alcohol,
Okay.
but you know what? If it wasn't for alcohol, I wouldn't be who I am today, because I
So tell me about that. What do you mean by that?
got sober. When I got sober, I didn't understand who causes the issue. So
Okay.
when you look in a mirror and you look back at that person, you got to understand that that person is responsible for everything that you do.
Okay.
And if you can't realize that, if you think that the cover because he had nothing better to do, well, if you wouldn't have been breaking the law, he probably would have never been pulling you over.
Okay. Good point. Right. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Nice. Okay. And I know there's more to that, and we'll have to get into that. That's probably getting part two. But so tell me, what is a common myth in real estate that you can debunk? Common myth.
Common myth that you can get rich quick.
Okay.
That's the biggest. I think that's the biggest. You can't do it quickly. I mean, there are a lot of people that say you can do it quickly, but a year isn't really quick. Quick to me is 30 days, 45 days. Yeah, you can make 45, 50 grand by flipping or wholesaling or something like that.
Yeah.
But to get substantial income and to get rich really quick, and rich to me means not having to be able to do any work. You can sit around and do things like this and hang out and know your team's handling every aspect in the office and getting things done. That doesn't come quickly. I mean, that took me 32 years.
Wow.
So if you just trust the process, trust the people, and keep moving along and keep doing your due diligence, it'll come. You never have to worry. Once I realized that I can keep my side of the street clean and do what I need to do for myself and my team, everything else will fall in line, and I'd probably never have to worry about money.
Nice. And it worked, right?
And it works phenomenal. Yeah, I get to do things like this, and I'm sitting down in Tennessee in my house in Tennessee, just relaxing, and it's just one of those things.
So why do you do what you do, man? What's your reason why? Do you have one reason why, several reasons why? I mean,
I like hospitality because I get to put smiles on other people's faces.
Okay.
And I probably didn't realize that till I got sober.
Okay.
And probably from what my father taught us, that we should always do things for others before we do things for ourselves, and it'll help out in the long run.
Gotcha.
And just from that alone, I really, really enjoy putting smiles on other people's faces, and to be able to get paid for it is a dream.
It's a plus. Yeah. Well, I'm sure getting on a yacht is going to put a smile on somebody's face.
Yeah.
In a hurry. I love that. So,
till they see the bill.
Okay. All right. Well, here's so before I ask my last question, how can people get a hold of you, man? I know you're in retirement and you're hanging out in Tennessee and all over the place. I mean, so if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
My Instagram, stayinourhome.com or Stay in Our Home. That's probably one of the easiest ways to get a hold of me.
Okay.
My information's on there. If you reach out there, I always respond to every message that comes back.
Okay.
No matter what. May not be in a day, but I will always respond.
Okay.
That's the easiest way. Other than that, if you know me personally, you can receive my personal phone, my email, or my personal phone number, and once we get to know each other, you can always have it.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Yeah, you throw me completely, man. I have lots and lots of questions. We have little time, so we'll schedule some more stuff. I want to learn more about that. But let me just ask you this. So, so if you Google the term real estate investor failure rate, you'll see that 95% of real estate investors fail. Okay. You obviously are in that top 5%, maybe 1%. I mean, you didn't fail. But so I want to know two things. One, how you define unstoppable, what that means to you. And then how did you make yourself, unstoppable when it came to failure and, working in an industry with such a high failure rate? How did you do that?
Yeah, unstoppable to me means being able to continue at a pace that works for your situation,
Okay.
and continuing to educate yourself along the way and gaining experience and knowledge.
Okay.
That's being unstoppable.
Got it.
Once you mindset yourself to I'm always right and these people don't know what they're doing, you're stopped. And that's where
Okay.
people get into the biggest trouble of the 95% failure, because they
Yeah.
think they know everything
And they don't.
and they close their mind,
Okay.
and it costs them more money to do what I do.
Got it.
That's the
Okay.
reason why I bring my team in, and that's the reason why I bring them to ownership of the company, because we all know that 75% of nothing is still nothing,
Right. Right.
or 100% of nothing is still nothing. So I would rather give up 25% of the company, have all these great team members along with me, helping me build this, wanting to build this, and understanding the atmosphere that we're trying to create.
Man, I love that. So again, so 25% ownership you're giving to your team. You're selling experiences. You make way more on the experiences than on the rental revenue. Completely different mentality, man. That's completely different. So we definitely have to talk. Do I have your commitment to I can reach out to you again? We schedule another time to do this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anytime.
But I appreciate your time, and I know that you're, I mean, time is money, and so I just appreciate that. I've learned a ton just even in the short time, but I definitely want to talk again. But thanks, Doug, for correcting your. I apologize for messing up your name there.
It's
That won't
all
happen.
good.
That would happen again. But I appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to talking again real soon. Okay.
Awesome. I
All right. Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
sir. You take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.